Okay, let's dive in. Today we're looking at a specific source. It's a review, actually, of the film Dungeons & Dragons, Honor Among Thieves.
Right. And our goal here is to really unpack this one particular take on the movie.
Yeah, understand the context that sets up, how the film landed according to this reviewer and what we can learn from their perspective.
Exactly. We're digging into how this film got made, what people thought was coming, and, well, how this critic reacted, especially given the whole history of D&D on screen.
It's sort of a classic case study in expectations versus the final product seen through one lens.
Mm-hmm.
So let's set that stage, the journey of D&D adaptations. Well, it hasn't exactly been smooth sailing, has it?
No, not at all. And this review, interestingly, kicks off with the reviewer's personal connection. They mention being nostalgic for the old 80s cartoons.
Oh, the cartoon, not the RPG itself.
Nope, the cartoon. Which, immediately frames where they're coming from. It's a specific kind of nostalgia.
Which is quite different from that 2000 film adaptation. That one was based on the game.
Right, the source material. And the review points out, yeah, it was a pretty big miss. Critics didn't like it. Audiences didn't really show up either.
A failure, basically.
Pretty much. And yet somehow, and the review touches on this weirdness, it still managed to spawn a couple of straight-to-DVD sequels.
Really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It kind of shows how these things can get a life of their own, completely separate from, critical acclaim or box office.
And according to this source, that initial film's flop led to rights issues. Things got tangled up, and a proper reboot was stuck in limbo for years.
Exactly. So then we jump forward to 2023, and Honor Among Thieves is announced, and it's getting a big theatrical release, which was kind of notable at the time, right? Lots of big movies were going straight to streaming then.
Yeah, that felt like a statement. But the review notes something interesting here. Despite the theatrical push, despite getting names like Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez...
The early buzz wasn't great.
Not according to this reviewer, no. They mentioned the first trailers, didn't look very good. People weren't sold.
And they even picked up on a vibe from the previews.
Yeah, kind of smugness, particularly around Pine's character, apparently.
Yeah.
It rubbed some people the wrong way, at least the ones this reviewer spoke to. So, expectations, pretty low going in.
Okay, so that's the backdrop. Past failures, low buzz despite the cast. How does the review actually describe the plot and the characters of this film, then?
Well, it introduces the main duo, Edgin, that's Chris Pine, and Holga, Michelle Rodriguez. They're thieves.
Right, a classic fantasy trope to start with. And their goal...
The review sums it up. They're trying to steal a specific item, a resurrection tablet.
Okay, why?
For Edgin, it's personal. He wants to bring his wife back. The review notes he blames himself for her death.
Ah, okay. So there's that personal motivation driving the quest.
Exactly. But things go wrong, they get caught, then they escape, and the mission changes focus slightly.
Ow.
They need to find Edgin's daughter, Kira. She's played by Chloe Coleman. She's missing, or at least not with them.
And where is she?
Living with an old associate of theirs, Forge, as Hugh Grant's character.
Hugh Grant, okay.
And Forge, according to this source, hasn't been sitting idle. He's done very well for himself, become a lord, apparently quite powerful.
Ah, so the old friend is now potentially an obstacle. Or an antagonist.
Seems like it. Edgin's quest puts them on a collision course, not just with Forge, but the review also mentions, powerful and dark forces that threaten the realm. Standard fantasy stuff, but with this specific character dynamic.
Okay, got the setup. Low expectations, interesting character mix. So what was the actual verdict? This is where it gets good, right?
Yes. This is the core of the review, really. A total turnaround. Despite those low expectations, the reviewer calls it an absolute hoot of a movie.
A hoot. Okay.
Yeah, and incredibly infectious. That sharp contrast is really what makes this review interesting.
So how did it win them over? What did it do right, according to this take?
It seems the key was the tone. The review says it just plays it for laughs. It leans heavily into the comedy.
Right.
The comparison they make, which I thought was great, is that it felt almost like a 21 Jump Street style take on D&D.
Oh, interesting comparison. So like meta comedy, but for fantasy.
Kind of, yeah.
Huh.
Review emphasizes the comedy is genuinely funny. And crucially, while it gets close to parody sometimes...
It doesn't cross the line.
Exactly. It stays respectful to the RPG fans. The humor, apparently, often comes at the expense of the characters themselves, their flaws and failures, rather than just mocking the genre.
Okay, that's a subtle distinction. Gentle nudges. Not malicious mocking, as the review puts it.
Precisely. It's having fun with the fantasy tropes, not sneering at them. And that seemed crucial for this reviewer.
So it deliberately avoided being, say, the next Lord of the Rings. It wasn't aiming for that kind of epic seriousness.
Not at all. The review makes that clear. It doesn't try to reinvent fantasy or sit alongside those huge, po-faced sagas.
Which the review calls less po-faced, right? It offered something lighter, more digestible.
Yes. And this source really argues that finding that specific comedic tone, separate from the usual epic fantasy feel and from the failed seriousness of the 2000 film, was the smartest thing it did. That was its path to success.
Makes sense. And a big part of pulling off that tone must be the cast, surely.
Absolutely. The review says they all just look like they're having great fun.
You can often tell when actors are enjoying themselves.
Yeah, and they're hamming it up in the best way, apparently, playing to their strengths.
Any specific call-outs?
Oh, yeah. Chris Pine praised for being as charismatic as ever. The review uses the phrase almost annoying likability, which kind of paints a picture.
Huh, I can see that. And Michelle Rodriguez.
Doing what she does best, the review notes. The tough exterior, but with that hint of a kind soul underneath. It's her brand, and apparently it works here.
Okay. And Hugh Grant, he's always interesting in these roles.
Described as brilliant. Brilliant as the sleazy, duplicitous lord. Sounds like perfect casting for that kind of archetype.
Yeah, he does that kind of charming rogue thing so well.
The review also gives a nod to Justice Smith and Sophia Lillis in supporting roles, saying they shine too. So it sounds like the whole ensemble really clicked and contributed to that fun vibe.
Good cast chemistry can make a huge difference, especially in a comedy adventure.
Definitely. But it wasn't all perfect, according to the review. It mentioned something about the pacing.
Ah, right, the length. It's over 2 hours long.
And the review notes, there was a point where it felt like it might just overstay its welcome a little bit.
That can happen with blockbusters. Did it recover?
Apparently so, yes. The review says it pulls everything together effectively for an exciting finale.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And was there a standout moment? Sometimes one scene just sticks with you.
Yes. The review highlights one specific sequence, the graveyard scene.
Ooh, intriguing.
Calls it worth the price of admission all by itself. That's pretty high praise for a single scene.
Wow, okay. Must be quite something.
So let's zoom out. What's the final verdict from this particular source, and what's the bigger picture here?
Well, the conclusion in this review is really positive. It calls the film a dark horse in these dark times.
A dark horse, I like that.
Yeah, suggesting it succeeded against the odds, providing just sheer entertainment. It defied the history, defied the low initial buzz.
And it did that, fundamentally, by finding its own voice. Comedic, adventurous, not taking itself too seriously.
Exactly. So for you, the listener, what this review really highlights is how an adaptation, especially one burdened by past failures like D&D, can find success.
It's not always about being the most faithful or the most epic, is it?
Not necessarily. Sometimes it's about finding a specific tone, like the humor here, and just fully committing to it, offering a different flavor within a crowded genre.
It suggests that maybe the best way to adapt something isn't always to try and replicate the source's main reputation, but to find a unique angle that connects, even if people come in skeptical.
Yeah, it's a really interesting look at how expectations set by trailers or history can be completely overturned by the actual experience.
A great case study in tone and execution.
Definitely.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. This review really underscores how much things like trailers, franchise baggage, and that initial buzz shape our expectations. Given how positively this reviewer reacted despite those low expectations, what does it suggest about what we might miss out on if we let those first impressions cause us to write something off too soon?